Welcome to the Smart Classroom. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating world of amines. We're going to use some high-speed 3D visuals to break down their structural chemistry, and honestly, once you see it visually mapped out like this, it's just going to click instantly.
But first, I want you to think about this question. What does a life-saving medicine, the complex neural pathways firing in your brain right now, a vital protein, and even a DNA molecule all have in common? Well, they all rely heavily on nitrogen-containing compounds called amines to actually function. Your brain cells literally use these atomic structures to communicate. That is exactly why this is one of the absolute most crucial classes of organic chemistry you're ever going to study in this explainer.
All right, let's meet the amine family. To truly understand amines, we kind of have to start with a classic foundation and give a simple ammonia molecule a complete personality makeover. Watch closely as we start kicking out those hydrogen atoms. When we replace one, two, or even all three of those hydrogen atoms with carbon-containing groups, like an alkyl or an arrow group, we create an amine. They're basically organic derivatives of ammonia. It's a really simple atomic swap, but it completely changes everything about the molecule's properties. Let's watch how this builds step by step. First up, we replace just one single hydrogen with a methyl group. Boom, we get methylamine. Now swap out a second hydrogen, and we've got dimethylamine. Finally, replace that third and final hydrogen, and a completely new compound, trimethylamine, is born right before our eyes. It's like we're building an entirely new chemical family from scratch.
Moving on to classifying amines by their structure.
Let's turn this into a quick interactive game to help you prep for your board exams. Here's a challenge. If one hydrogen atom of our original ammonia molecule is replaced by an ethyl group, what specific type of amine is formed? Pause for a second. Think about this classification challenge before I reveal the answer. Okay, did you get it? You guessed it, it's a primary amine. And why is that? Because only one single hydrogen atom was replaced by a carbon group. It is all about counting those direct connections.
Check out this complete breakdown of primary, secondary, and tertiary amines mapped directly to their formulas and examples. So, when only one carbon group is attached to the nitrogen, it's a primary amine, like methylamine or aniline, giving us the general formula RNH2. If you attach two groups, well, it's secondary, like dimethylamine, with the formula R2NH. And if you've got three carbon groups attached, you're looking at a tertiary amine, like trimethylamine, formula R3N. The logic here is just beautifully clear.
Now listen up, because here is the golden rule, and quite frankly, a massive NEET and JEE exam tip. Always count the number of carbon groups directly attached to the nitrogen, not the total number of carbon atoms present. Counting the total carbons in the molecule instead of those direct attachments is literally the most common mistake students make. For instance, an ethyl group has two carbons, right? But it's only one direct attachment to the nitrogen. So ethylene is still a primary amine. Please don't let that trap catch you on exam day.
Let's look at nitrogen's electronic configuration.
To truly understand the 3D structure of these amines, we need to violently zoom down into the atomic level and look right under the hood at the engine of the molecule, the central nitrogen atom. Let's visualize nitrogen's fundamental setup. It has an atomic number of 7, so its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. That leaves us with a valence shell containing exactly 5 electrons. Out of those 5, 3 are going to roll up their sleeves and form bonds, while the remaining 2 pair up to become an unshared, highly influential lone pair.
Watch these animated orbitals merge right here on screen. To form stable bonds, the valence shell prepares those 5 electrons. Then, one's s orbital and 3 p orbitals merge perfectly together to form 4 equivalent sp3 hybrid orbitals. This visually proves that to form stable bonds, nitrogen actually undergoes sp3 hybridization. 3 of these orbitals get 1 electron each for bonding, and that 4th orbital safely cradles our lone pair.
Next up, molecular geometry and shapes.
So let's look at the actual 3D space around the nitrogen atom. We've got those 3 sigma bonds and that one distinct glowing lone pair right at the top. Now notice this classic exam trap. Because there are 4 regions of electron density, 3 bonds plus 1 lone pair, the electron pair geometry is tetrahedral. But, and this is crucial, when determining the physical shape of the molecule, we ignore that invisible lone pair. So, based only on the 3 bonded atoms, the molecule itself looks exactly like a 3-legged trigonal pyramid. Remember this, tetrahedral for the electrons, trigonal pyramidal for the molecular shape.
Now for the lone pair effect.
We're going to apply VSEPR theory, that's valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, to see how these electron clouds actually repel each other in real time. In a perfect, totally symmetrical world, any atom that undergoes sp3 hybridization naturally wants a bond angle of exactly 109.5 degrees to minimize repulsion.
So here is the mystery. If the central nitrogen atom is sp3 hybridized, shouldn't the bond angle in our amines be exactly 109.5 degrees? Why doesn't the amine molecule follow this ideal tetrahedral angle?
Well, the answer lies entirely in that lone pair. It's only attracted to the nitrogen nucleus, meaning it isn't stretched out between two atoms like a normal bond. Because of this, it occupies a lot more space and violently pushes the bonded atoms closer together. The stronger lone pair bond pair repulsion literally squeezes the ideal angle down from 109.5 to approximately 107 degrees.
When we compare them side by side, ammonia and amines are pretty much structural twins. They both boast sp3 hybridization, a single lone pair, and a trigonal pyramidal shape. The main difference simply comes down to those swapped-out carbon groups in amines replacing the hydrogen atoms in ammonia. And those carbon groups are exactly what shift the electron density and fundamentally alter the compound's real-world properties.
All right, time for our final exam revision.
Let's power up the final revision board and lock in these vital NCERT points. Think fast for this rapid quiz. What is the hybridization, the lone pair count, and the molecular shape of amines? You should immediately be picturing those 3D models we just built together.
You should be picturing sp3 hybridization, exactly one lone pair, and a trigonal pyramidal shape. Go ahead and take a screenshot of these ultimate summary flashcards right now. Amines are NH3 derivatives. They're classified based on the direct attachments to nitrogen. Nitrogen is sp3 hybridized with one lone pair. The electron geometry is tetrahedral, but the shape is trigonal pyramidal. And finally, that bond angle is approximately 107 degrees because of lone pair repulsion. Honestly, once you visualize the 3 sigma bonds and that heavy lone pair, this entire chapter just clicks into place perfectly. And as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. Consider the massive implications here. If tiny changes to bond angles and simply swapping one alkyl group can so drastically alter a molecule's structure, what does that mean for the next life-saving drug waiting to be discovered? How could a single microscopic structural shift completely change a medicine's effect on your brain? Keep that fascinating question in mind as you continue exploring organic chemistry. Thanks for joining me in this smart classroom today.